Alright, so I picked an arbitrary star in our Milky Way, and I'm just going to rotate with it around the galaxy while keeping its position stable. Alright, so here we go. Now the thing about this is, here I have it in the foreground of the galaxy background, but it's still in space. So there are several different juxtapositions you can actually attain. Here you have it from the other side at about 90 degrees rotation. And there it is in the foreground of the galaxy. We'll keep on rotating and observe that these galaxy clusters that are there as well, how they are moving in reference to each other. Even though we are slowly rotating, they're actually passing in front of us. So let's keep on rotating in the zone and observe how these clusters are interacting. So we would have them behind us right now and coming around for the pass from the left to the right. And as they do so, let's see, there goes some clouds and stuff, lots of gaseous matter, space. So we're actually pulling this cluster from the right to the left. Alright. Now why isn't it doing what the new cluster down to the lower side on the left and the middle are doing? As we've made one rotation there, so they just came out from behind, and maintaining focus on this cluster, soon past a couple of more. It is actually keeping it almost a stable position, even though we're rotating. So now it is a new kind of center. And our point of reference, the star I pointed out, these two clusters will almost connect to each other. So the more we rotate, the greater the symmetry of some cause or event. Let's keep on rotating and see where it gets us with a stable velocity of that we're actually at about 230 light parsecs per second. Now the cluster is, let's see, if we can center our star, and the cluster is approaching there from the right and then from the left. It doesn't seem to be changing much, but there we just had it centered. Let's go for another rotation. I mean, what we're doing is that we have two points, arbitrary positions of two star clusters and another one, and we're just trying to rotate with the stellar values and factors involved in the galaxy spirals and their positions with all the stars in them. And we're trying to center by creating an artificial galaxy center to see actually where the source or origin of these cluster interactions are coming from. There we almost had two on top of each other. Now the lower cluster doesn't seem to be involved in any way on the basis of direct contact. Let's see another turn. Our own Milky Way has about, what, 2 or 3 spiral rotations, and we've done about, let's see, 4 or 5 of them. There it goes. There it goes. Now they just passed overhead, and in reference to cluster just passing below. It's actually gaining height with our star position, and is doing so by returning back when it reaches the horizon of the galaxy. So check out these two clusters moving to the right. They should, on the next pass, relate to the horizon, where they're actually passing past. And as we turn back to observe them passing by, we are actually seeing, let's see here, kind of a delay in location. So the one that just is going past now actually came up from behind the star, and now it's returning back to overlay on the foreground of the star, and the cluster 2 went in the background, and cluster 3, which is centered now, also went in the background. So is it possible we're getting star clusters shifting from background to foreground? Possibly, yes. But they're also alternating their rotational position in reference to the galaxy horizon as a whole. So let's see. I want to be able to spot that cluster that's always getting centered as it approaches. Already passed and is on the right side of the star there. Very small. Racing past us, and now it just flipped sides, went back into the galaxy, and is approaching as the little point there that you see centered. Centered about, let's see, let it pass. Coming closer now. Closer and closer. So it seems to have displaced into the background. Now, the clusters are linear in some way by curvature. If you could link them continuously with a line, they should be doing behavior like strings do in some kind of rotational format. Well, these ones are now getting staying put for some reason or other. They're moving very slowly. So their velocity has seemed to have been reduced, even though our rotation velocity hasn't changed that much. And now we're going into the horizon view, and let's see, I can still keep them in view. So the basic point reference is the star position. And what is happening is that we're approaching these clusters as we rotate and rotate and rotate. And we're getting a kind of vehicular assist on them as they maintain their velocity. And we're actually catching up to a stable reference here of a continuum velocity. So you can see what's happening is that we're actually rotating out with the cluster out to the outer galaxy space. So this obviously always happens when we're rotating in a galaxy. We're always reaching for the outermost clusters. Let's see ahead. And there are two of them, yeah. Let's increase velocity and see what happens. They're just passing by, but in the opposite direction to what they were doing before. So direction rotation changes in reference to the closer you get to the galaxy center.